What's it gonna be like?
So for our next film, after we did Toe, we kind of set our sights on being more ambitious to the point where actually we're gonna make a feature film next, which is crazy. And I think we're being a little naive in the amount of work that's gonna go into it, but we're having fun with it. I think we have a really cool story that we're still writing, but we're developing, and I think it'll really drive us to see this through. But basically, the film is actually called The Iron Leech, and it's basically based in the mid 1800s on a whaling ship. So New Bedford is kind of it's the place that was a popular whaling port town. And so we're kind of, this house that we build is kind of the setting and the type of like look that we're going to do. Mm-hmm. It's going to be that kind of Tim Burton Gothic look. But yeah, so we knew we needed to build one of the trickiest things for stop motion is animating water. And there's a lot of people who have different devices and ways that they can try to achieve it. Some people use cellophane and they'll just push it around, but it looks a little, it's cool, but it definitely has more of a, what's the word for it? It doesn't look like natural or real in any way.
Right.
So we kind of, we found this video of Leica when they were making Kubo and Two Strings. They had this like mock-up that they were using to try to experiment with doing water. And so we kind of used that as a reference, but basically we have this set over here. A friend of ours is an engineer, and when we told him about this idea, he does a lot of 3D printing. So he was like, oh, I can make all these little parts for you all and use an Arduino computer, and basically I can program into it. Chad will turn it on. You'll see it. So basically, when you turn it on, he's programmed it to do this wave pattern. So once it all gets set, so like right now it's going to start doing this wave, and we had the option of doing different types of patterns that we need. So let me get a higher perspective. But basically, so we knew we needed this to be able, and we can actually operate this frame by frame with a controller if we want. You probably saw in the video we put a what's this? Another thing I'd experiment with was trying to give it an actual like surface that looked like the ocean. Right. So we took tarp and paint and hair gel and just painted over it and laid that over top of it. And you might have seen that video online that kind of showed what it could look like. And we did some post-production to try to make it look more expansive. But the idea is, and we had a lot of people reach out and we're like, why don't you just do that in Blender or Cinema 4D or just do it digitally? And so we had to kind of explain to people it's stop motion. It was important to us to do it practically. And we can do it. We can control this thing frame by frame, which is crucial. We can, still maintain that stop motion effect. So this was like kind of an experiment that we put a lot of work into. And his name's Tate. What's Tate's last name?
I don't know. He's just Tate.
I wanted to pitch it. Yeah. But yeah, so he was real gung-ho about it. It was like a new experiment for him and kind of impressed us with that piece. So we might still develop it a little more. But yeah, that was kind of the idea is this whole thing is going to pretty much take place on a whaling ship out at sea. So we need different, and we'll probably have to use some like After Effects work to blend the ship into the water and stuff. But we wanted to, for the most part, try to keep it practical if we could. So yeah, and again, we're documenting the whole process, just so people can kind of see what we're experimenting with. But you can see, we're gonna have to actually build a full-scale ship for our, and by full scale I mean our puppets for our next film are gonna be about 10 inches tall, which is still very tall. So we're gonna have to kind of build a ship. We did get this offline, which is like a very detailed miniature of it, which we'll use for like wide shots and things like that to show it out and see. And we're probably going to composite our puppets and make them really small, and if we need them like moving around on it. Again, it's all experimentation. We might have to play around with it to get it to look real, but that's kind of been our strategy. Is we just go for it basically and see if it works or what problems we encounter.
And for closer shots, are you gonna like recreate the model but larger, basically?
Yeah. So for closer shots, we'll build our own little replicas of it, which is another reason why we wanted to buy like a miniature. So we'll kind of use it as a template. So when we start to build, a bigger version of that ship, we know exactly how it should look and things of that nature. So so if we do close-up shots, and we will, we'll definitely have to build part of that ship as well. So
it'll be one of those things when we mentioned earlier, you only have to worry about what's in the frame. So we're going to definitely use some trickery so that we don't have like a 16-foot ship in our apartment. We're probably going to build like sections of it and shoot those close-ups, and then we might use some digital effects to help with the background and stuff to make it look fuller. But we talked about 3D printing it. I think that would be way too daunting. So I think we're actually going to have to do some carpenter skills and just build it out of wood. So no more popsicle sticks for this. We're going to have to go a little bit.
Exactly. Our next question was we're going to ask you guys for hype us up for New Bedford, but you already did it. It looks amazing.
It's gonna be really cool. There's gonna be a lot of horror elements of it, a lot of adventure elements as well. We'll have like creatures fighting, kind of like in a very old school Ray Harryhausen style. So it'll be a really fun kind of horror adventure out at sea. So
and for those puppets and the human puppets, are you contacting the same person?
So we actually have so Demi, who made these puppets, she's working full time for K&B Effects. She's got a lot going on with them. So we knew we have like probably 12 puppets for this next film that we need built, and it's a lot for one person to take on. So we know, and we also have like a whale, shark, other creatures and stuff. So there's a lot that needs to happen, and so we're going to try to spread out the workload and find the great thing about today's day and age is on Instagram alone, you can find so many talented people out there who you can commission to help. So we're looking out for people to help. We have this woman named Natasha, and it's called Morsey Moore Studio. We reached out to her, and she's an incredibly talented puppet fabricator, and she has really interesting methods that I don't quite understand. So when we mentioned replacement faces, we have her building us a sailor puppet right now, and she's sculpted these really detailed faces that pop on and off by magnets. So we can get different facial expressions just by changing the faces. And she knits the clothing, she does everything. It's definitely, take a look at her work online, but she's going to make us the first puppet for our opening scene. We only need one puppet. So the plan is we're going to shoot that scene, make sure everything looks how we want it to look, and then we're going to run a Kickstarter after that scene is completed and try to raise funds to be able to make the rest of the film. So.